and welcome to another episode of A Lost Cause. We are now in season 2.
Yay!
And today we are kind of going to do a team up, and we're going to talk about two people that...
Two great people.
that, you know, may seem unrelated, but do actually have a lot in common. And that would be Ethan and Goodwin.
I'd just like to announce that this is the very first Others podcast, and I feel very proud.
Yes. So even though we meet many others along the way, our first introduction to the others is through Ethan and then Goodwin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're kind of doing them together. So let's start with Ethan. His name is Ethan Rom. Okay.
/ Goodspeed?
Goodspeed, yeah. And we will explain. So Annie's a bit more familiar with season 1 than I am, which is when we're first introduced to Ethan, right? So maybe you can give us a little bit of background as to, like, what do we learn about Ethan in season 1, and, like, how are we first introduced to him?
So we're actually first introduced to him because he's really helpful. Like, he's always picking fruit or chopping wood or something like that. And
who do we think he is?
Ethan Rom.
Yeah.
Survivor of Oceanic 815.
Right.
And then Hurley, actually, so Claire, it's kind of complicated. Claire is going into labor in the jungle, and Jack is operating on Saeed for some reason, because, I don't know, he thinks he's the main character or something. And so Charlie's with Claire, and Claire sends Charlie to go get Jack, and Jack finds Ethan and says, go find Jack. It's kind of complicated. And then, meanwhile, Hurley is doing this census thing where he gets everybody's names, and he finds this manifest, which has everybody who was on the plane, but he interviewed one too many people, and that was Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
And Ethan does not go and get Jack. So Hurley is telling Jack that, like, Ethan wasn't on the plane while he's talking to Saeed, and it's, like, really stressful. And then Claire isn't actually in labor. It was a false labor. And then Ethan takes Charlie and Claire.
Takes Charlie and Claire.
Yeah.
And how long are they gone for?
Well, Charlie was found the day after, and
Okay.
then Claire was there
missing
for a week.
Yeah. So there's at least a couple episodes where Claire is just, like, missing.
Yeah.
And we presume that we know pretty much that Ethan took her, right?
Yeah.
Because didn't Ethan, like, try to hang Charlie?
Yes.
Yeah, but he survived.
Yeah. Because Jack and Kate were following Ethan, and they found this trail that Charlie made, and Ethan threatened Jack, saying, like, if you keep on following me, I'll kill one of them. And then he tried to. He hung Charlie, and it took a really long time for him to, like, revive, but Jack got him back to life.
And then when's the next time we see Ethan?
He comes back. I don't know why, though. I don't know. I think he came back to...
Because does Claire come back?
Yeah, I think Claire comes back, and then...
On her own, right? 'Cause
yes,
she escapes.
And then maybe he tries to get her back, and then they find him, and they're, like, interrogating him, and Jack's beating him up and stuff, and then Charlie kills him.
Because he's
just
so
shoots
mad.
him.
Yeah. And, like, you know, everyone's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, because...
They
This is sort
info.
of when they kind of, like, discover, okay, so there are others here besides just us, and I think that's how the whole term, the others, is really coined, right? And Ethan is the very first other that, you know, we come across.
Yeah, so congratulations, Ethan, for being the first other.
So in season 1, all we really know about him is that he's not who he says he is. He tried to kidnap Claire. And he wouldn't... What information did Jack get out of him at all, like, during this interrogation?
Really nothing.
Really nothing.
Yeah.
and then he gets killed. So that's all we really know of Ethan.
Poor Ethan.
No, because like when you are introduced to Ethan in season 1, like he seems like a real villain. He seems very creepy. How did your dad describe his appearance?
Melted Tom Cruise.
Melted Tom Cruise. He is actually Tom Cruise's cousin though, but yeah. He looks like a candle of like a very well made candle of Tom Cruise that's just kind of been in the sun for too long, let's say. Sorry. And so we know that's all we really know about him.
So mean.
Yeah, it is kind of mean. But then in later seasons, we learn more about Ethan because Ethan shows up in flashbacks. But it's kind of like, because he's pretty scary in season 1, when we see him in the flashbacks, it's kind of like, like Ethan, you know. So
Dono, like, I think it's on purpose, but anytime he gets on the screen, he like jumps.
Yeah, no, it's very much that way. So, you know, kudos to, like, I think his name is William Mapother.
Yeah.
Because
his last name has other in it.
Right. Fate or coincidence. So he does a really good job. And then I think the next time we see Ethan is in the Juliet flashback. Is that right? Perhaps?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's strange because, like, you know, we're learning about Juliet. We see her in Miami. Her sister has cancer. And then we see Ethan, like, just walking down the hallway or something, right? And it's kind of like, what is going on? And yeah, so we see him there. He ends up along with another character that we're first introduced to, I think.
Ricardo.
Yeah, Richard Alpert is also there, and they recruit Juliet to come to the island, or also known as Portland, is like how they kind of bill it. So, you know, we see a bit of Ethan there, but then we get really more of a backstory on Ethan.
Yeah.
Probably not till like season 5, right? Well, I guess we see a little bit along the way, him making appearances just as we learn more about the others. But we learn a lot about him in season 5.
Yeah.
So who is Ethan Rom?
Oh, do you want me to
Sure.
talk about what happened in season 5?
I think so, yeah.
So, like, he's kind of the other. Like, not the other, but another.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very, I want to say, like, invested. Like, he really was a part of the fertility problem because he was a surgeon.
Yes.
For the others.
Right.
And
that's why he was involved with, like, Claire's abduction.
Yeah, he was administering injections to keep her baby alive. Oh my goodness, that scared me. And yeah.
And, like, at the time, we don't really know why he wanted Claire.
No.
But we later learn that there is this fertility problem on the island, which we assume began with the incident.
That's our theory.
Yeah, and so since then, when women get pregnant on the island, you know, they and their baby, like, they don't make it, and they die.
It's very sad.
So it's a huge problem, and so Ethan's a surgeon, I guess, and so, yeah, he's trying to help with that. So then we find out, oh, okay, like, that's what was going on, but maybe they were actually trying
to save her.
To save Erin. I don't know, though, because
yeah.
Alex kind of suggests they're just going to kill Claire.
Alex isn't always right, though.
Yeah. I don't know why they would kill Claire, actually, but that's what we're led to believe at the time.
Yes. So should I give away the big...
Yeah.
Okay. It's like they don't know the show, but they obviously do know the show if they're watching this. But, so our favorites go back in time, and this woman is in labor. She's about to give birth, and the doctor is not there. And so Juliet actually has to, like, deliver this baby, and she's all, like, scared because no woman on the island who conceived on an island has ever given birth.
Yeah.
And the baby actually, like, lives. It's the first...
But it's like breech or something,
like
right? So it's a complicated delivery, which is why... And I think there is some guy there trying to be a doctor.
Yeah, but he's, like, really annoying. And then Amy, the mother, is like, I want her to do it. I want her to give...
And who is Amy married to, or who's the father
Well,
of this baby.
it's so weird. Horace Goodspeed.
So the episode is LaFleur, right? And it kind of jumps back and forth. And so we learn that Amy is an other. She was married to a guy named Paul.
She's not another.
Or, yeah, sorry, Dharma. Blooper. Yeah, so she's part of the Dharma Initiative, and her husband Paul, on the very, like, day that Juliet and Sawyer and all them kind of go back in time and stay there, right? Now they're going to stay in 1974, I guess it is.
Yeah.
They, like, witness this, scene going down, and they actually, I think they see Paul get killed, don't they?
Yes.
So it's Paul and Amy. They're just trying to have a picnic. They get attacked by the hostiles. So this is really like how Sawyer and Juliet and them get introduced into Dharmaville. But because the episode is sort of flashing back and forth, we learn that Amy ends up marrying Horace Goodspeed. And
somehow. Some miracle happened.
And, and she's going to give birth. And so Juliet, you can understand her fear, because she was brought to the island to try to, like, save women's lives, and every single time they died. And she came to realize it happens at conception. Whatever it is, it happens at conception. There's nothing I can do to help these women. But now this is like before all of that, before the incident, and she's asked to deliver this baby. And how does it go?
It goes well.
It goes well.
The baby is born.
And they named the baby
Ethan.
Yeah. So she delivered Ethan. So it's like a real, like, twist, because in some ways it's such a wonderful moment for Juliet, right? Because, like, she finally saved a life. And it was Ethan. That's who she saved.
I love those episodes so much just because of that, like, shock and stuff like that.
And also, Ethan brings us one of the very worst bloopers on the show, like one of the biggest mistakes of all.
I love that one.
And I think it's the same scene where Juliet finds out it is Ethan, because it's like after the baby's been born, Amy's like relaxing in a hammock, and they're like, Juliet's holding the baby, hands the baby off, and like, I don't know if that just, the camera was a bad shot, but it is so clearly a doll. Like, and you get a really good look at it, and it is a doll.
It's
like,
a doll.
And, we find out in some of the behind the scenes that they often used a doll to, say for Aaron. But it's just supposed to be when he's all wrapped up and you don't really see him. You just see that they're holding something. You don't want to use a real baby for all of those scenes.
Well, they did for the other scenes with
they do, but when you see his face and stuff, but probably, like, yeah. But at this time, something went terribly wrong, because you just see this doll.
I mean, that would explain the bad, like, aging thing. But
it's the same scene where I think Juliet says, have you thought of a name? And she's like, we're going to call him Ethan. And then Juliet's reaction is pretty classic, because she's like, oh. And you sort of see her, like, realizing, like, this is Ethan.
And Ethan is actually the person who brought her to the island.
So she's probably got a very, complicated relationship with Ethan. At the same time, though, like, the day the plane crashes, he is under her house trying to fix her pipes or something, so, maybe
it evens out.
It evens out. And probably they had a sort of friendship, because she's a doctor and he was the other's surgeon.
Well, yeah. I want to know more about what was going on in the others, because Carl is also a little doctor or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of questions about Ethan. Once we realized that he was actually born and raised Dharma Initiative, and yet, when we first see him, he's one of the main others, right? But we also...
He wasn't evacuated.
No.
Which is so weird to me.
Well, because Miles was evacuated, but he wasn't. Maybe he was too little to go on the sub, because he was only, like, a few days old, right?
But then you'd just die. Or, well, that's what they thought.
Well, that was the concern, yeah. Well, he obviously survived. But one more thing about Ethan I wanted to get to is like, so there's an episode where it flashes back to the other's perspective on the day of the plane crash, September 22nd. And yeah, we learned that it was actually Ben who sent Ethan and told him to go pose as a survivor, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how he got there. So that's the story, the sad, tragic tale of Ethan.
No, there's more.
Well, there's more because we learn that he grows up Dharma, but then becomes an other. So then there's the question.
Teenage Ethan is like my favorite Ethan. He's so annoying. He's so not Ethan. That's not the same person.
Yeah. But it's an interesting story because you sort of just get these little clues along the way that you kind of have to fill in. Because, yeah, like I said, we know that he's Dharma Initiative, but we know that he becomes an other. We see him accompanying Ben, like when he's going to kidnap Alex.
And he's just so, like, desperate. Like, do you want me to kill her?
Yeah.
Just, like, so bloodthirsty, teenage Ethan.
So then we know that somewhere along that time, Ben has managed to recruit Ethan to the others, like secretly, because they're still both living in Dharmaville. Mm-hmm. And so remember, Ben, meets Richard, and
like they're like real chummy.
Annie calls him Pirate Richard the first time we see him.
Yeah, and obviously, like, he had a real big impact on Ben.
Yes, and so there's this plan that Ben is gonna be patient. Ben is gonna continue to live among the Dharma Initiative.
And, like, grow his hair out and wear those Converse.
Yeah, that's his assignment, basically.
Pretty much.
Set buses on fire, whatnot. Yeah. But then Ethan's there, too.
Yeah.
And so,
that really popped out of nowhere.
Yeah. So, Annie, how do you think that Ben, and how and why, like, did Ben manage to recruit Ethan? When he's got such wonderful parents, why would Ethan want to leave?
My theory is that Ethan is like a rebellious teen, and he's like, I don't want to be good. I hate you guys, even though he's like probably one of the most privileged people ever. Like, I think that, well, how old would he be when the purge happens? Because I think that he would probably get a pretty good job, even though Ben was just like another janitor, and Ben is significantly smarter than Ethan.
Yeah. So what year is the purge again? 1992? He was born in 1974, so he'd be like, whatever that is, 18, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, but this is
I think that I don't know why, of all people, he would want to be an other, because he actually has it pretty good being Horace's
son.
child.
Yeah, that's true, because Horace is kind of like the man in charge, strangely enough.
Who let that happen?
Yeah, he's just like such a natural leader.
What accident happened to...
Horace is doing pretty well for himself. Before Amy, there was Olivia.
And then she left him.
Yes, or so
she realized she could do so much better.
But again, as we have discussed in previous episodes, like, pretty slim pickings on, the island. If you're part of the Dharma Initiative, you're looking to meet a man.
Oh, but
not a lot
so
of
lucky,
options.
So lucky, ladies.
I mean, when your choices are, like, Phil, Stuart, Brzezinski,
Oldham,
like, Horace isn't so bad. And then the other question is, like...
I love the Dharma Initiative.
If Ethan is the surgeon for the others, like, where did he go to medical school? And so we have a theory that, Ethan...
Stupid theories.
Maybe Ethan was off the island during the purge, because he would have been in his late teens, so... and I mean, it's not like you're going to just get into medical school off of the island, right? So he probably would have had to go to, like, at least some kind of college first and then go to medical school to really become a surgeon. So he must have been off the island for quite some time. And Ethan is one of the only others. There's, like, a select few that they get to leave the island and come back because...
Well, he's in the circle of trust, right?
The circle of trust, yeah. So obviously Ethan, was in Miami to recruit Juliet. He probably got his education there. So kind of interesting how that all works out. And like, that's my question, because we see that Horace, his father, is a victim of the purge. We don't actually see his mother. So it's like, did Ethan really willingly participate in that, knowing that, his own parents would be killed? Or was he off the island becoming a doctor at that point? Like,
One can only imagine what Ethan was doing off the island. Probably like went to Vegas and got really rich.
well, when you go off the island, you have to make the most of it, right?
That's what Tom taught us.
Yes. Tom.
Oh man, how is Ethan 29? He can't be 30. There's just no way.
Yeah, but he is, though.
But he
right?
is.
Yeah. And so then we think we've seen the last of Ethan, but he does make an appearance in the Sideways, which I find interesting because the show, like it often does, first presents these characters as like a villain, a bad guy, and then along the way we understand them a little better and maybe have a bit of sympathy for them. So why do you think that they give Ethan this opportunity to be in the Sideways, and what is his role in the Sideways?
Well, he's a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Claire, once again, just like she did on the island, kind of goes into false labor.
False labor.
And who's the doctor?
Ethan.
So it's sort of like, maybe, because like we've explained before, we believe the Sideways is an opportunity for redemption, and not everybody even gets to like go to the Sideways.
Yeah, like Richard.
And
Justice for Richard.
And not everybody in the Sideways gets to go on to the church, or just maybe they do, but later. So it's interesting to see Ethan in the Sideways, because we think of him as a bad guy, that he tried to like, take Claire, take her baby, and yet here he is trying to help her. And in many situations in the Sideways, it's almost like you get an opportunity to make things right, and like you get another chance to do it the right way. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, is Ethan all bad?
Maybe the problem is the Dharma Initiative.
Because remember when Ethan tells Claire, like, I'm going to miss you, and, I'm really trying to help you. Like, do you think that any of that is sincere? Or
Maybe.
Is he just...
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's interesting that he shows up in the Sideways.
It is.
And is like a good person in the Sideways, it would seem.
Okay, one last thing about Ethan, and then we move on to Goodwin.
Yeah.
So, if you're stupid, you don't know this, so I'm going to tell you. Ethan Rom is a whatever it's called for other man.
Oh, really? So if you, like backwards?
No, if you mix up the letters.
Oh, if you mix up the letters. Okay.
Did you not know that?
If I did, I forgot. Or I guess I'm stupid.
Guess so.
So yeah, maybe like a pro tip, don't call your podcast audience stupid. But
I do what I want.
Yes, you do. You sure do. Well, maybe as we sort of now take a little break between Ethan and then our next character, Goodwin, is a good opportunity for our shout out. And our shout out this week is thrifting.
Yay!
So Annie and I just returned from
a successful
thrift. There's something where we live, it's called Dated and Faded, and it's like basically a sidewalk sale of just thrifting opportunities, and we scored really big today. Would you like to show anything you bought?
Well, this whole outfit is a thrift.
From last week. Remember last week we were talking about 70s fashion, and I said now we just have to get the clothes. So that was one of our finds.
Yeah. The outfit. I know I look great. You don't have to tell me. And then all my jewelry is thrifted, pretty much. We got this ring, this cherry bracelet, and this like seashell, can't really see it, bracelet. This I just got in Drumheller. This one is thrifted too, and the man behind the curtain bracelet I made.
I also got this nice little ring too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cheers to thrifting, because if you want to look like a Dharma Initiative recruit
Mm-hmm.
the best way.
And the cherry on top was this that we just found in an art gallery. It's the Dharma symbol, but it's actually the Bagua, which is Chinese. So
But yeah, pretty cool. It really looks like the Dharma.
it
symbol.
is.
Yeah.
That's what it came from.
Yeah, so the Dharma Initiative, we still are trying to figure out, like, what is it exactly?
What's going on here?
Like, it's a collective of, like, it's scientists primarily, but then there's all the, like, kind of hippie.
I love
stuff
the hippie, though.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, but I was saying to Annie earlier this week, I mean, they're not, like, for a bunch of peace-loving hippies, like, they're pretty violent.
They're pretty, just like...
Pretty quick trigger.
I mean, sometimes it's great, and sometimes I'm like, yes, do it. Kill Saeed, please. Sometimes I'm always just...
No, what about poor Daniel?
Oh, right.
Like, Brzezinski, stop shooting at poor baby Daniel. So that's Ethan. And then we have the next other that we really are introduced to is... Goodwin. And so how...
You tell the back...
Yeah, so...
I want to tell the, back.
Okay.
Further back. Because I don't like the Taily stuff.
Right. So this is part of the Tailies story, and we kind of debated, like, should this episode next now, like, be about the Tailies, because we're doing the season 2
But
characters.
we're just pushing it off to the...
We just kind of decided to defer it. Because Goodwin appears to be a Tailie. So as we learn in season 2, remember, like, the plane breaks into... And so there's the tail of the plane lands in a completely different place. And these survivors are called the Tailies. And there's quite a few of them initially.
There's like 20 of them, I think.
20 of them. They're like on some beach. It's like a different part. But then, strangely, like every night, more and more people go missing. And then, like, there's this brother and sister that were supposed to be meeting up with their mom in LA. And they're pretty young. And then they go missing, too. So they learn a little bit sooner than our losties. Like, there's something going on here. So they kind of know, okay, maybe they don't call them the others, but, like...
What did they call them again?
I don't know. I don't remember. But every night they're losing more and more people. And I think Echo actually kills one of them, right?
He kills 2 of them.
He kills 2 of them. So they're like even more scared than like the survivors on the other beach, because it's much more aggressive attack, like, for some reason. And so then we've got like a group of them that are called the Tailies. You've got Ana Lucia, Libby, Bernard, who is Rose's husband. And remember, during all of season 1, Rose...
Hey, that's not their episode.
Okay, well, we'll get to this, but, we find out, yeah, you're right, Rose, your husband is still alive, and he is with the Tailies. And then Echo and Goodwin. And so Goodwin is just some guy.
Oh, and Ana Lucia.
Oh, did I not say her yet? Ana Lucia is sort of the leader of the Tailies. Then there's this other guy. I can't remember his name. He claims to be from Canada.
Isn't he Neil? No, he's not Neil.
No, Neil is Frogurt, I think, right?
Yeah. He's Frogurt.
But anyway...
sorry, guy. You don't know
Ana Lucia, former cop, begins to suspect that one of them is an imposter. They have a mole. A spy among them. And so she's very suspicious. She's trying to, like, protect her people. And so she thinks that it's the guy from Canada because he was
Because he's Canadian.
Yeah.
Like, what's up with that?
And he went to the bathroom and he was gone for a long time, and there's some other, like, questions he just wasn't able to answer, like, why were you on the plane? Like, she interrogates him, and she's not really satisfied with what he's telling her. So they end up, like, putting him in this kind of pit and basically, like, holding him prisoner there because they think that he's the one. He's the mole.
And Goodwin is helping Ana Lucia with this.
And so what does Goodwin do?
Kills him,
like, snaps his neck.
Dun, dun,
And this is the moment we realize, oh, it's Goodwin. Because, like, before that, we think Goodwin's pretty great, right?
Goodwin's pretty good.
Goodwin is pretty good. He's a good friend to Ana Lucia. He knows a lot about things. He's brave. We don't really suspect him, but it's him.
And it
then
kind of looks like Charles Woodmore now that I think of it.
And little by little, as time goes on, I think Ana Lucia does start to suspect. So
I don't know.
what is they just think that the guy in the pit escaped, or what is the cover story again? Like Goodwin kills him, but
I
then
don't remember.
what does he say happens to him? I don't know if he just buries him and they just think he's missing or what. But anyway, we may be missing a few details there.
Sorry.
But there's a really intense scene between Goodwin and Ana Lucia. And I don't exactly remember how she figures it out, but she pretty much confronts him, like, it's you, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And so now there's this, like, tense moment, and Ana Lucia is pretty much fighting for her life, right? And she kills Goodwin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, like, brutal and hard to watch. But because of that, this sort of explains why going forward Ana Lucia is just so suspicious and doesn't trust anyone. And so then
And she can be very annoying.
Yeah, and like really bossy. And when they do meet Sawyer and Jen, Michael, she thinks that they might be others too, right? And when they say no, like we're on the plane, she's like, yeah, right, I heard that before. And it's all because of Goodwin. That's why she is that way. And it's maybe partly why she ends up like accidentally shooting Shannon, right? Is because she was really fooled by Goodwin.
Okay, whose episode is this again? Goodwin.
Goodwin, yeah. So let's talk about Goodwin. But when you watch it again, it's sort of interesting that there are little clues that Goodwin isn't who he says he is, because he makes some comment to Ana Lucia about like joining the Peace Corps, and she says, is that even a thing anymore? And so it's sort of like, oh yeah, like Goodwin probably doesn't really know what's going on in the real world, right? Because he's been on the island for probably like who knows how long. Also, his clothes are like a little bit out of date, maybe. So, there are signs that Goodwin was not totally truthful. And so then he dies, and we think, well, that's it. That's all that we're going to know about Goodwin. But like so many characters that are brutally murdered on Lost, they do have a chance to be on the show again.
There's not that many people who were brutally murdered.
Well, a lot of people die, that's for sure. So do we see Goodwin again?
Yes.
Yeah.
In another Juliet flashback, actually.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that.
So they become friends because I don't know why, but it's weird.
Well, he's got that burn on his arm,
yes,
right?
And then she kind of tends to it.
And then there's something very embarrassing happens for poor Juliet.
She tells him that she hates her, what is it called?
Therapist. Yeah.
Harper.
Well, she doesn't say she hates her.
Well, something like
that. Says, I don't think Harper likes me, and I think that she's a mean like person or something like that. And Goodwin says,
that's my wife.
Yeah. So,
Great going, Juliet. Anyways, they become friends. Goodwin and Juliet.
Blooper. We've each had a blooper. Yeah.
Hey, I haven't yawned yet though. And it actually becomes a little bit more than that. Actually, it becomes a lot more than that.
Yeah, so they start having an affair, even though like he is married to Harper
Stanhope.
So then that must be Goodwin's last name too?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the problem with this isn't so much Harper. Like, that's bad enough. But someone else doesn't approve.
Mm-hmm.
And that is?
Oh, Benjamin Linus.
Yeah. So Juliet, like, tries to keep this a secret from Ben because Ben is a little bit obsessed with Juliet. Seems to think he has a chance with her.
What does that mean?
Well, he does. He's like really trying to like romance her, I would say, right?
Yeah.
So she's trying to keep it from him, and Goodwin's like, oh, like, why are we like hiding this? Why are we keeping a secret? I'm just like sleeping on the couch anyway. We should just come clean and, tell my wife the truth. And Juliet's kind of like, no, I think we should just keep things as they are. Because Ben wouldn't like it. That's really the reason. And so what does Ben do?
Sends Goodwin to his death.
Pretty much. And so here's where we kind of tie Ethan and Goodwin together.
Yeah.
This is really what they have in common, is on the day of the crash, we see it happen. Ethan's under Juliet's house. Goodwin's just kind of there in the crowd. And Ben says, Goodwin, Ethan, go. You still have time to like make it and pretend you're one of the survivors. Find out everything you can. Send me lists in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's kind of why Goodwin was there. That was his mission. And then he dies, right? We just explained. And at the time, we're kind of like, good. You know, he was a bad guy. But then it's not so good for Juliet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in another episode...
Everybody loses people they love.
Yeah. And, like, there's a scene where, like, Ben invites Juliet over. She thinks it's, like, a dinner party, but it's actually just a romantic dinner for the two of them. And during this dinner, Ben is kind of like, oh, yeah, like, Goodwin's giving me reports. Like, you're so good with those kids. Goodwin's talking to me about this woman named Anna Lucia. Like, he seems really taken with her. You know, just trying to, like, push her buttons. And, you know, Juliet's like, well, maybe we should call him back. It's very dangerous. You know, maybe we shouldn't leave him out there anymore. And Ben's like, no, he's doing an important job. And then, what happens next?
Oh, he dies.
Yeah, and Ben tells Juliet, brings her to the body, and Juliet does not react well. Because this is when Juliet realizes that Ben knew all along, and that that's why he sent Goodwin. Because he knew that Goodwin would probably die, and he wanted him out of the way. Kind of like David, you know, from the Bible. He, like, he wants to be with Bathsheba, so, like, sends her husband to the kind of the front of the line in the war, so that he'll die. Kind of a similar thing there. So Juliet basically accuses Ben of orchestrating the whole thing.
And he retaliates, as he should.
No. What does he say?
Oh, yeah, he... Don't roll your eyes.
I don't think this is a good moment for Ben.
I think you should say it.
He says to Juliet, and you'll correct me, because I don't have all of his lines memorized, but something to the effect of, like, when are you going to realize, like, you're mine? So if you're Juliet, like, wow, that is scary times, because the whole deal was she was supposed to only be there for 3 years, or no, 6 months, right? She's supposed to be back because her sister's pregnant. That's when the baby's going to be born. They don't let her go home. She tells Ben, like, look, I figured it out. It happens during conception. There's nothing I can do. Can I please go home? No. And now, not only can she not go home, but, like, you're mine, like, shows that Ben is, like, super possessive of her and is probably going to kill anybody that thinks they can be with her. So that's why he sent Goodwin, but why do you think he sent Ethan?
I think that Ethan was getting on his nerves, probably.
But do you think it was, like, that he thought he was jealous of Ethan, too? Because he was, like, fixing her pipes?
I don't think so.
No. Or did he want Ethan to die?
I think maybe it's just Ethan is, like, his helper or something.
Yeah, kind of his right-hand man. He has
Sort
been
of.
for a long time. Well, Ethan was
And then
sort
Tom
of,
gets recruited.
but Ethan was, yeah, given that privileged position along with Richard of, like, being able to come and go from the island, so.
Yeah. Same with Tom, though.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom was obviously in the circle of trust as well. So our first introduction to the others, just based on Ethan and Goodwin, like, before we really kind of meet Ben Linus and sort of find out a bit more about what's going on, all we really know about the others is that they really like to make lists and they kidnap people. So that's kind of enough, though, that, you know, we're like, it's ominous. And we don't know, like, if there's any connection between the others and this smoke monster. So those are kind of the two sort of malevolent, scary forces on the island at the beginning.
Okay.
So that's Ethan and Goodwin. We still have time for everyone's favorite part of the show, Annie's hot take.
The hot tip.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I have one for each of them.
Ooh,
Because...
2 hot takes.
Ooh.
2 for the price of 1.
Yes. So, number uno is for Ethan. Ethan was not in the wrong here, okay? He was never in the wrong, okay? He was sent to go get Claire and to get these people from Jacob.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
So your hot take is justice for Ethan.
Justice for Ethan.
Okay, can I have a comment on it?
Okay.
So the hot
I'll
take
allow it.
is like usually it's hot because it's like a little bit controversial.
Mhm.
So some takes are hotter than others in that sense. I think this is a very hot take because generally we don't think of Ethan as a good guy or like, and I don't
How
know.
many times does he have to tell you that they're the good guys?
Saying it doesn't make it so. And I don't really see like that's a great defense, that he was just doing what he was told. Like, because we're all told to do things that are wrong, but you have to decide for yourself.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay.
And I mean, you
Next
know,
hot take.
in many of your Justice for Ben rants, you talk about,
Rants.
you know, his tough childhood, he didn't have a mom, his dad was like an abusive alcoholic. So we can sort of see Ben becoming an other. We don't know what happened to him at the temple. So there's like a case for Ben. I think the case for Ethan is a little weaker because as far as we can tell, he's growing up in a nice, supportive community. He's got, you know, 2 loving parents. Like, what's so bad about your life, Ethan, that you want to become an other?
Anyways, after that, my hot take for Goodwin is that him and Juliet never should have been anything more than friends. It just seems like a weird fit, them together. Like, I don't know. They just don't seem to really complement each other that well.
Yeah. And
I feel like they're just more of a friend thing.
And it seems a little bit out of character for Juliet as well to, like, you know, have an affair and be the other woman. And like, even when Harper confronts her about it in one of their sessions, like, and she continues to see him, it's a little bit surprising. I think it just speaks to how lonely Juliet is, how alone she feels on the island. And sort of like, she doesn't know if she's ever going to get off there, so she's got to try to kind of have whatever. I mean, who else is she going to date? On the
Ben.
No, not Ben.
Why not?
Because.
Okay. I think that concludes because we're on our 42.
Yeah. But I think too, it is too bad, right? Because it would have been better. I agree with this hot take. It would have been better for them to just be friends. They both sort of needed a friend, and like we kind of understand from Goodwin, like maybe he's not on board with all of it, but he's just kind of stuck there. And so, you know, and it's nice that Juliet does have someone to talk to, but then unfortunately it becomes more than a friendship, and that really directly contributes to Goodwin's death. So it's too bad.
We're out of time.
And so that has been this week's episode. Next week you probably will be talking about the tailies. So thank you for joining us. Namaste.
Bye-bye. See you in another life, brother.